Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be going over my immortality tech for Citrine. Now, if you don't know what I mean by the immortality tech, what I basically mean is it is a build with a health tanking tech that I've not seen anyone use it, so I'm just going to say that I came up with it because I've not seen anyone else use it. That essentially makes it where you physically can't die. It is extremely strong, extremely potent, and it makes endgame a cakewalk. You literally you can't die. You have infinite energy, and that's yeah, can't die and you have infinite energy. So what can enemies do? Nothing. They can do absolutely nothing to you. So with that being said, you will see Citrine built in a way that you probably have not seen her built in before. You will see the Archon mods. You've probably seen that before, but you probably have not seen Hunter Adrenaline on her or anything like that. The reason why is because this is an entirely separate build to the like quote unquote meta ways that frames are played. So if you see any of these videos that say immortality tech on them, that is specifically my like branded immortality tech that I have. If anyone else has done this first, be my guest. But I've not seen it anywhere. So without further ado, let's get into the build. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna replace her two with Well of Life. Her two. So sorry. Let's back up. Running this build and keeping her two essentially makes her two a useless ability, because what her 2 does is it provides damage reduction to you and allies. There's not a point if you can't die. So the DR is going nowhere because you can't die, so there's no point in having DR. If you want her to be a global support frame, then that is fine. You can keep her 2. I'd recommend replacing her 4 if you're going to go that route. Either her 4 or her 1. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to keep her 4 with the recrystallize augment, you can. That is absolutely something that you can do. If you want to replace something else entirely because maybe, if you want to replace her 1 because you don't like her 1, that's also fine. I usually run her 1 because it helps build up Arcane Blessing faster. It also acts as a targeting mechanism for her 3, so it's great synergy there. For her 4, we are going to be running her augment. I currently don't have the augment on the build, but I will show you where it would go. For the Archon shards, we are running 2 Talforged Reds for strength. We're running 2 Talforged Blues, 1 for health, 1 for armor, and 1 Talforged Yellow for casting speed. The Archon shards are kind of up for debate in terms of what you want to run. One thing I will say is if you want, you absolutely can replace these 2 Talforged Reds with Talforged Blues. I would actually recommend that, as this will give you more survivability and it will make it so that this build is that much more potent. If you do not want to do that, that is completely fine. You could also replace them with duration if you would like to do that as well. Casting speed is a personal preference. You can replace that with whatever you would like if you want to. For the actual build herself, we are running these mods. I'm going to hover over them so that you can read what they do. And if you need to pause at any point to read what anything does, then feel free to do so. Well of Life on her too. One thing I will say is this is like most expensive build. If you want, you can replace Archon Stretch with regular Stretch because you will not need the energy generation that Archon Stretch is giving. That is just something that you're not going to need. If you want to replace Archon Flow with the Recrystallize Augment or her Prismatic Companion Augment, you can. That is completely up to you. She functions perfectly fine with the energy that she has available. You absolutely do not need to run Flow if you do not want to. It is entirely up to you. It is personal preference at that point what you want to put in this specific slot. Stretch and Cutting Drift gives her enough range for her Prismatic Gem to be useful. The armor is for Well of Life Persistence to be able to proc. Archon Vitality, additional heat procs, it's just a bonus. You would want to run either regular Vitality if you don't have Archon Vitality, or keep Archon Vitality and make her Prismatic Gem a little bit better. Archon Continuity, again, for a Prismatic Gem, it's going to be proccing Toxin, so might as well make it proc Corrosive. Archon Intensify, you are constantly healing yourself, which means you are constantly sitting at a 60% strength gain. So whatever the strength gain is here, add 30 to it, and that is essentially what this is going to be. That's what your strength value is going to be if you're taking into consideration Archon Intensify. Which is why earlier I was saying you do not need the 2 Tau Forged Reds, because this is literally always going to be active. No matter what, it's always going to be active, because you're going to be constantly healing either yourself or allies. There's really no in between. If you would like to run the Prismatic Companion, again, you can. Blind Rage is there to get your strength value to at least 250. You need that strength value to be at least 250. You can adjust this if you want. The one thing I will say is if you go below 250, you'll need to always be in constant radius of 3 Well of Lives. That can get annoying. So being able to be in radius of 1 at a time makes it a lot better. Hunter Adrenaline, since we're running a pure health build, all damage that's being dealt to your health is going to go straight to energy. If you would like to run Rage, you absolutely can over Hunter Adrenaline. Yeah, that's pretty much it that I want to say about the build. If you have any questions about the mods or anything like that, please put them in the comments or anything like that. I will say, please, instead of jumping to conclusions and saying, you should replace this mod with this mod, ask why I have that mod in the first place. Because 10 times out of 10, I'm going to have a reason for why I'm running a very specific mod where I am, right? So it helps me if, you ask, why are you running X mod, instead of saying, hey, you should replace that mod, because that doesn't tell me anything. That's just you changing the build in the comment sections, right? If you want to change the build on your own, you absolutely can. But if you have a question about why I'm running a mod, I'd rather just be asked why I'm running a mod. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the Steel Path gameplay.